The recent death of Patriarch Benjamin F. Johnson in Mesa, Arizona, recalls to the writer an episode of the persecutions of the Latter-day Saints in Missouri in 1838, in which the deceased was a prominent actor, also of a lady greatly beloved by all who knew her, who has also passed to that better clime. Mr. Johnson, then a young man of 20 years, had been taken prisoner by the ruffian horde styled an army, commanded by General Clark, and for 8 days kept under guard at a campfire in weather intensely cold, with no shelter from the piercing winds by day or night, no bed except a few boughs between his body and the snow, which was more than a foot in depth, no covering of any kind, and his only resource against freezing at night a constant replenishing of the campfire, making sleep almost impossible. In addition to all this, he was denied any food and was only kept from starvation by the pity of a slave cook, who stealthily gave him scraps left from meals when he could do so unobserved. The wretch who at Haun's Mill slew an old Revolutionary soldier was in the camp carrying the corn cutter with which he had murdered the old man, and which was still dyed with his blood. Day after day he threatened Johnson's life with it, saying he would get more Mormon blood upon it when he got ready. And others of the mob frequently told him, "We'll kill you tomorrow sure," and in a way to make you yell right smart. While sitting upon a log one day, a brute came to him with a rifle in hand, saying, "You give up Mormonism right now or I'll shoot you." Receiving a decisive refusal, he exclaimed with fearful oaths, "I'll send you to hell right now." Took deliberate aim not 10 feet distant and pulled the trigger. No explosion occurred, and he cursed fearfully, saying he had used the gun for 20 years, and it had never before misfired. He examined the lock, put in fresh priming, and again essayed to shoot Johnson, but without effect, and a third time with the same result. A bystander told him to fix up his gun a little. Then said he, "You can kill the cuss all right." "Yes," said the would-be murderer, "I'll put in a fresh load." He did so and again tried to kill Johnson. This time the gun burst and killed the wretch upon the spot. And a bystander was heard to say, "You'd better not try to kill that man." And thus, day after day, Johnson was continually threatened with death. But help was coming, and that by the compassion of a young girl who visited every family in the Mormon settlement, not many miles, and persuaded men and women to meet at the log schoolhouse and pray for his release. They did so, and that night, next day, and the following night they kept unceasing in prayer. As one ceased praying, another began, and then her and another. Some went home to breakfast, dinner, or supper, and returned again to pray for the release of their brother. At length this unceasing prayer was answered. About midnight of the second night, the general in command caused Johnson to be brought to his tent, and said to him, "Johnson, I have had all I could do to save your life until now, but I can't save you from death any longer. The men swear they will kill you tomorrow. Give up your Mormonism and I will adopt you as my son. I have none. I am wealthy and you shall inherit all I have, and your life will be saved." Johnson said his religion was more to him than his life, and he would sooner die. Finding argument could not alter the young man's decision, the general said, "Well, all I can do is turn you loose in the woods, and for you to escape if you can." He ordered a soldier to conduct Johnson to a deserted Mormon log house, about a half a mile from camp. Leave him there and return, which he did, and the young man was free. But what a freedom! In snow 2 foot deep, no blanket, no arms to kill game or for self-defense, and no food except about 2 quarts of parched corn. And he must make his way for miles, for days. He could not go to the Mormon village nearest at hand, as he would be sought for there, be retaken and murdered. And so he plodded through the woods, half starved and frozen, having to wade sloughs and brooks filled with snow or ice, and no chance to dry his frozen garments and limbs. He finally reached a house but could not remain, as he found his foes were hunting the whole country for him. But here he obtained an old quilt, 2 or 3 pones of cornbread, a flint and steel to make fire with, and with another man started on his weary journey that night to reach Fort Leavenworth, about 200 miles distant. And this refuge, after days of fearful privation, they at last gained, being hospitably received and cared for. And who was the angel of mercy in human form? A young girl in her teens, who gained his release and saved his life through the prayer of the saints. It was Sister Eliza R. Snow, his intimate friend. In closing this sketch, I will say I have read the foregoing in Father Johnson's journal, and have also heard it from his own lips, and have thought it well for the rising generation, born and living in peace and comfort, to know something of what their fathers and mothers have had to endure for the gospel's sake.